Footbap Nation!
What's rhyme?
What up, Footbappers? We're back with another episode of the Fantasy Footbap Recap. Week 13 just commenced. Week 14 coming up. Last week of the regular season before we hit playoff time. And this week was kind of boring, I think, overall for games. I feel like most of the games were blowouts for the most part. But we'll get through that when we start going through the games. And then obviously we're going to go over some moves that have happened and stuff, which I think maybe we should go over moves first, Paul, don't you think?
Yeah, makes it
At
easier to
least,
understand how it went.
yeah, let's go over at least last week's moves. So we'll start
Mhm.
off with what happened after the episode last week, which, let's see. So last week, there was a blockbuster trade that happened. Wasn't there two, or was there just the one?
Um,
Oh, it looks like
just
there's
the
just
one.
the one. All right. So the blockbuster trade. Oh yeah, Dave picked up Kenny Pickett last week ahead of his matchup and played him. I picked up the Chiefs. Nick picked up AJ Dillon for $15. That's going to be huge coming up. Nick also picked up Van Jefferson for $12. That's a lot of money to spend on Van Jefferson. Austin looks like he picked up James Cook. Oh yeah, I set back the trade deadline to we do the trade. Trade deadline is supposed to be the last week of the regular season, and I didn't update that last year when the NFL expanded an extra week, so that got updated. Another two huge. Okay, even before we get to the trade, huge moves right now. Keep this in the back of your mind, Footbap Nation. Nick picked up AJ Dillon in the Cleveland Browns defense after the episode. Two pivotal moves
Big
ahead of
brain play.
the Piss Bowl matchup, and we'll get to that matchup later. But we had a blockbuster, and it had to do with me and Austin. Basically, what happened was Austin texted me Thursday morning, I think. Yeah, Thursday morning, and he must have like listened to the pod that morning or something, and he texted me and said, like, hey dude, like what do you think of this trade? And it was one of the worst trades I'd ever gotten in my entire life. He sent me a trade and said, oh, that's what he did. He texted me, just said thoughts question mark with a trade where I give up Donovan Peoples-Jones and Deshaun Watson, and he gives me Geno Smith and Tyler Boyd. And I literally said, what does that do for me? Because I already have Justin Herbert, who's better than Geno Smith. I would rather have, at the time, I thought I'd rather have Deshaun and Herbert than Geno, and I'd rather have DPJ over Tyler Boyd. So I was like, I'd rather have Watson and DPJ. And he said, what will it take for them? What will it take for them, bro? And I was like, I said Devontae Adams, like jokingly, right? Like, why would he give up Devontae Adams? And then he he was like, how can we make this work, bro? I'll give up Sutton instead of Boyd. Yeah, he said he'll give up Sutton instead of Boyd, and I said I don't want Sutton. And then I said Chris Godwin, who Austin also has. I was like I like DPJ more than Sutton and Boyd, and I'd like Watson better than Geno. Like, I don't even need Geno. And I said I have buys next week, so I like need DPJ next week. And then Austin said, fuck, man, you're really pulling my dick here. I'm trying to help you out, bro. And I was like, dude, no, you're not. Like, what are you talking about? And then he was like, Geno's a viable starter, and Sutton is the only worthwhile a receiver on Denver. And I said, I have Justin Herbert and Deshaun Watson. And then I get the notification, and he goes, fuck it, bro. This is the best I can do. And he offered me Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers for DPJ, Rashad White, and Deshaun Watson, which, looking back now, if Deshaun Watson keeps sucking, then, like, I guess I really got a good fucking deal for Deshaun Watson. I was on the fence of this, and I was texting you, Paul, and asking your thoughts, because I didn't have people to field a roster this week, basically. So I didn't know if I should even give up DPJ and Rashad White. But then I was like, dude, Devontae Adams is good enough, and basically what I was banking on with this, no offense, Paul, is like I was like, if I make this trade, then I have to beat Paul this week because I can't. I'm not going to be able to win next week with a depleted team. So the trade went through. I accepted it eventually, and that leads us to me and Paul's matchup this past week. Paul, for everyone listening at home, before last season where my team was fucking amazing, I was 2-6 all time against Paul. Like then after last season I was 4-6, but that was like a fluky season where I had a really good team. I lose to Paul almost every time I play him. So things were looking grim this week. And like I said, I made that trade and said I literally need to win this week. Otherwise, like I'm fucked because I'm not going to beat Dewey in week 14. And here we are. Paul, walk us through what happened here, Paul.
So, yeah, as soon as he sent me that trade text, I was like, accept it. You get Devontae Adams. Like, I had no thought in my mind. I was like, I'd take that in a heartbeat. And I mean, like, I'm sad that it happened because it gave me a loss. Of course, I want to win every week, but you're still in the playoff hunt. So, I mean, there's good and bad sides to this story. But it's in my mind, Austin got absolutely fucked in that trade. Devontae Adams is really good, and he got two players. Like, if you didn't have to start them, you would never put them in your starting lineup. So I was like, damn.
I think Rachaad White still got like 15 points, but Austin just didn't start him for some reason.
If he didn't get that last touchdown, he would have like 7.
Right.
So,
but I saw that and I was like, oh shit, dude. But then I looked and I was like, Austin didn't even play. No, it definitely paid off this week because I did get the dub against Paul. Devontae Adams had his best game of the year. What is up with this, Paul? This has been a trend in our league for a while. So you made that trade for CeeDee Lamb, and remember that first week he literally scored 32.5 points. You made the trade with Dave for Debo, and I think Debo had his like best game of the year, right?
He had 18, second best game.
Yeah. And then I actually this 33 might be his second best game. I know he scored 30 at least another time. Okay, so what's his best game? So yeah, I traded for Devontae. He literally had his best game of the year by 2 points. The first week that I had him. But this isn't even like new to like this season because I traded. Remember when me and Mike a few years ago, Mike had a lot of receivers and no tight end, and I had Mark Andrews and no receivers. And me and Mike traded, and I traded Mark Andrews for Tyler Lockett. And the first week I had Tyler Lockett was when he scored like 48 points on Thursday Night Football. And it was his best game of his year. Yeah, he did nothing the rest of the year. He was on my bench like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, because I think he went on a stretch where he like didn't score more than 6 points for like the next 7 weeks. It was horrible. But Mark Andrews also sucked. So me and Mike really had a mid off with that trade. But yeah, there's this weird like I'm starting to think that the Footbap fantasy league, like we determine how guys are going to do week to week based on trades that are made. Like anyone that's involved in a Footbaps trade, they either have the best game of their career or they do the opposite. When Dave got Damian Pearson, he scored like 1 point and had his worst game of his career. Like we determine, we have the power here. Yeah, I beat Paul. It was a huge win. You had some interesting moves being made, some that I didn't like, some that I did like for my own sake, which one of them was I saw you picked up the Steelers and I was like, this fucking idiot is going to play them over the Eagles.
I was so confident in the Titans, dude. I thought
they
were going to win.
He did. So he started the Steelers over the Eagles and the Eagles had 11. The Steelers had 4.
Yeah.
He put Brian Robinson in and I knew that was going to fuck me because I was like, damn it, I want him to have Debo in instead of Brian Robinson. But then you actually had George Pickens in and I was like, yes, but then you put Lazard in and I was like, fuck again. So you were switching your lineup all around and the only one that actually worked out was the defense one. Like I wanted you to play the Steelers and Pickens because I was like, dude, those are just like traps. Like nothing against the Steelers or even Pickens or anything. Like I just knew I had a feel like Brian Robinson scored 12 points without even scoring a touchdown. Like I just knew he was going to have a good game, at least yardage wise. And then I was thinking Rodgers against the Bears, like Lazard was definitely going to do stuff. So yeah, it was. Now I have a question for you. Are you at all worried Well, I'm going to go through your team, and I want you to let me know your level of worriness for guys, okay?
Yeah, I'm a guy I'm definitely
Guys
worried
that
about.
I want to see the panic meter on a scale of 1 to 10, Dak
Uh-huh.
Prescott.
Panic wise, I'd say like a 5. I'm not really panicking. He kind of looks like shit and then he randomly does well. So it's just like really weird. I don't really want to panic on him yet.
Okay, Travis Etienne.
That's like an 8 cuz the Jaguars just this is very increased a heavy amount over the last 2 weeks. I mean, he got hurt that one game, but
Yeah, the hurt game doesn't
this
really
game
matter.
against Detroit, I was like, "Oh, it'll be high scoring. He's gonna guarantee a touchdown probably." And then he just like has 6 points. So it's like he's been falling off the past couple weeks, and the Jags suck. So they're always gonna be playing from behind, all this nonsense. So I'm kind of afraid.
Yeah, ETM was the one that like I think I said it to you. He was like doing good, and I think it was around week 8 when I was like, ETN just kind of like he doesn't like look like a workhorse. Not that he can't be, but I was like,
Hmm.
I don't know if he's gonna like keep this up. And then it was like a down game, and then he gets hurt, and then like another down game, and now I'm like, fuck, dude. You actually have a you there's like a Paul curse this year, which is like any young running back you touch will pop off for like 7 or 8 games and then start doing shitty. Damian Pierce,
Hmm.
Travis Etienne. Now, big question, Mark Andrews panic level. Paul, go.
Um, I'll give that an 8 because
Yeah.
he's been sucking, and now Tyler Huntley is replacing Lamar.
Dude, but you
Lamar
never know.
dumps it off
Maybe
to
he'll be
Andrews
like,
usually.
maybe
So
Huntley will be like, Mark Andrews is the only guy I can throw to, so I will. But
yeah,
I'm also worried about him.
yeah,
Um, Other than that, I don't think anyone else is really like Oh, I guess
yeah. Everyone
Debo.
else is pretty solid.
What's your panic meter on
Oh,
Debo? I mean,
I'm
it depends what you were expecting when you got him. Like he's
yeah.
kind of done shit this year, so it's not like,
I
you know
mean,
what I
yeah, I
mean?
didn't expect him to go crazy. I just was hoping he'd somehow get back to what he was last year, but like
Uh-huh.
not even close. But panic wise, I'd say like a 6. It's nothing crazy. I'm not too worried about it.
Okay. And then yeah, to be honest, another thing, hilariously enough, when Joe Mixon was ruled out, I was pissed because Samaje Perine just like does better than Joe Mixon,
He
and
didn't even score a
also
touchdown in that
yeah,
18.
and also he gets like when Joe Mixon's out, he just gets every single touch in the backfield. Like
Yeah.
Joe Mixon gets touches stolen by Samaje. When Mixon's out, no one else touches it but Samaje. So I was like, that actually works
Mhm.
out for you. Um, Another thing of note is in this matchup, Foster Moreau like got a concussion and then like came back in and caught a 30-yard pass. That was pretty cool. And then like didn't do anything the rest of the game. Oh yeah, your field goal kicker Robbie Gould popped the fuck
Popped
off.
off.
Yeah,
Yep.
he popped off. I was watching that game. At that point, our game was close. Or if it wasn't close, it was at least like I was trying to go up by like 70, so I didn't have to worry about Sunday night.
Mhm.
And he was just keeping you in it single handedly. And I was like, can Robbie Gould literally stop? Like, why is this fucking happening? Um, Another thing, just for the fans at home to like realize how horrible of luck I have and how good of luck Paul has. I was up by 60 points going into Sunday night, and all Paul had left was Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. And Paul's luck is so amazing, specifically against me, and specifically against me in night games when he has guys on at night. That Paul was actually watching that game thinking he had a chance to come back and win, down 60 with
The
only two
first
players.
yeah,
Yeah,
first
and
5
Dak
minutes of the
Prescott and
game,
CeeDee
CD had a
Lamb.
pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb at halftime had like 24 points or something. And I was like, he actually is going to do it. It was pissing me off because Paul was like live texting in group me, and I was like, this fucking little rat is up watching this game like, I actually have a chance because Brandon's fucking luck is shitty and I have the best luck in the world. It was pissing me off. And then thankfully it didn't happen because they like basically didn't score in the second half. But I was like, this is hell, dude. Like, I can't believe that I'm even in this situation. I think what set the tone, Paul, was the Zach Ertz game. That was what set everything in motion. Our games were like definitely competitive, like 2015. So ESPN didn't like count stats until 2017, but our games were definitely competitive, like 2014, 2015, 2016. We like split it, and then like that Zach Ertz game happened, and something happened with my fantasy team that it like broke them, dude. And now they're like the Zach Ertz game. For anyone that's wondering, I was up by like 33 points, I think it was, going into Monday night, and all Paul had left was Zach Ertz. And still to this day, it's Zach Ertz's best game of his entire career. Zach Ertz scored 33 and a half with the he won by half a point, and he got it by Zach Ertz on the very last play of the game where the Eagles were down by like 17. They like threw a pass to Zach Ertz for 18 yards with like 2 seconds left, and that's what won Paul the game. And I was like, I can't fucking believe what I just watched. And ever since that game, like my team just can't beat Paul's. So this was a statement win. This was a statement win for my team to say that we can beat Paul. So if nothing else, if nothing else, I at least fucking beat Paul this week. Maybe we can, heading into next year, gain some momentum against you. This next game was fucking hilarious. What the fuck? Dewey beat Gorman 167-55.
That's a nail biter right there.
Yeah, Lamar got hurt early. Chubb didn't do good. Kenyon Drake did bad. Deontay Johnson didn't do good. Devontae Parker, Kittle, Gibson, Palmer. His highest score was Josh Palmer, who had 9.5 points. That's
a tough day.
I mean, regardless of what, in Gorman's defense, regardless of what he did this week, he wouldn't have won this game. There's nothing Gorman could have done, so there's nothing to even really feel bad about. Burrow had 30. DeAndre Swift had 19. McCaffrey, 25. A.J. Brown, 28. Amon-Ra, 29. 49ers defense, 18. That means that Kenneth Walker got hurt at some point in this game and only got 3 points, and Dewey still scored 166. Yeah, statement win for Dewey. Dewey, we'll heading into the playoffs, I guess we'll rank the teams then. But just a little spoiler on how I would personally rank the teams. I think that the two best teams are Kyle and Dewey. I just think that if DeAndre Swift is gonna be somewhat healthy like he was this past week, and if Kenneth Walker doesn't miss that much time, I don't know how he has 3 top 15 wide receivers and 2 top 10 running backs and like a top 15 running back and a top 5 quarterback. He's got one of the best defenses in the NFL. Like, Dewey's team is fucking crazy. Dewey murdered Gorman. That's all we got to say about that. Next up,
we were talking last week that Dewey's team was kind of looking a little shaky here, and now he's just came back, and now he's here again.
His team was looking shaky, and then it was a combination of Amon-Ra stepping back up, because remember, Amon-Ra didn't do good for 5 weeks, and now the last 3 weeks he scored 20 to 30. And then McCaffrey had a couple down games. I think Swift had a bunch of down games in a row. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Dewey's team totally flipped the script. On to Kyle versus Mike. Statement win for Kyle, who just overtook Mike in the standings with this win, because, as you all know, Mike is the second lowest scorer in the fantasy league, so him and Kyle have the same record, which means that Kyle now passes him. So Mike's going to look to turn up this week. Mike's going to want that to get a win, get a higher seeding spot, so he gets an easier matchup in the playoffs in the first round, or potentially a bye. I don't know what the standings are, but specifically, either way, Kyle beat Mike 154-102, and Kyle's the other team that, like I said, I don't know how the championship could be. They're a good team. Like, Paul has a good team, and Dave's team confuses me. On paper, it doesn't look good, but he wins games and puts up points. So Dave's team's good. There's got to be someone I'm forgetting. Either way, because there's 2 other teams in the playoffs. Who am I? Whatever. Regardless, Kyle literally has a top 3 quarterback, Jalen Hurts, top 3 running back, Austin Eckler, somehow a top 10 running back, Tony Pollard, top 3 wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. Christian Watson is apparently a top 10 wide receiver now. Gerald Everett's pretty good. Gabe Davis sucks. I'm going to be completely honest. But it doesn't matter because on like that's the only position, like Jamal Williams good. That's the only person that's questionable on Kyle's entire team right now is Gabe Davis, who he can replace with Deontay Foreman. Darius Slayton's been doing good. Zay Jones, classic. So Kyle's got a fucking crazy team too. Mike just didn't have it this week. For some reason, Jeff Wilson Jr. Did you see his stat line? He had 1 carry for 3 yards.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened either. I have no idea what happened. Maybe it's because San Fran has a good rushing defense.
And they're winning.
Yeah, they were winning.
No, never mind.
No, they were winning. They were winning. They were up 10-3, I think, and it was a close game either way. If they weren't winning, it was a very close game.
But yeah,
it was fucking crazy. But yeah, Mike with another 102. Mike's team. Mike's got an interesting bunch because it's not like Mike ever puts up like 70, 80 points. Mike every single week, his team is locked in to score 100 to 115 points. Wouldn't you say, Paul? Like I bet if we went to Mike's schedule and looked at his schedule, I bet it's just a bunch of 100s to 100. Oh, so he scored 128. So Mike scores this week 105, 91, 99, 151. Throw that out the window. He hasn't even come close to that. So ignore that. 65. Let's ignore that. Let's just look at recently, basically. Like
6 to now. It's all
90,
similar.
118, 108, 110, 101, 99, 128, 102. Like he's locked in for this. Like he's gonna get like 100. He's gonna like. It's crazy. Mike's he's locked. He's got a consistent method going on. Mike doesn't beat you. Mike is the Tennessee Titans. Mike's not going to come out and light it up and beat you by scoring points. He's not. If he gets behind in a fantasy matchup, there's no coming back for Mike. His team is not built for the comeback. Mike goes out there and he's like, I'm aiming to score 20 points this week. We're talking about real football. The Titans, they go out there like, let's put up like 20 points and try to hold our opponent to low scoring. And if our opponent gets out to a big lead like Philly did to the Titans this week, they're fucked. They can't fucking win. So Mike's team is built for they're going to come out, they're going to play, they're going to compete, they're going to put up an average amount of points, and they're just going to hope their opponent has an off day that day. And that's Mike's team, and the strategy's worked for him. He's 8-5, he's locked in the playoffs. He loses this week to Kyle. So if I'm Mike, I'm like, I don't want to get matched up against Kyle or Dewey or Paul. I don't want to get matched up against people that have like pop off like potential, or he's just got to hope for low scoring output for whoever he plays in the playoffs. But now we're going to get to that game last. We'll get to this one first. Dave versus Steve. The second I saw Dave pick up Kenny Pickett's to start in his lineup, I was like, Dave lost this matchup. No offense to Kenny Pickett. I thought that Kenny Pickett's would score like 13 to 15 points. But I was like, Steve is gonna, Steve's gonna put up points. Like if I was Dave, I was thinking pick up Jared Goff, who scored like 24 or something, like someone like that, right? That has the potential to score 20 plus. Like, but Dave played it safe, and it worked out for him, dude. It worked out for Dave. Kenny Pickett with 13 points. Dave wins 114 to 103. It came down to Monday night. Steve had Chris Olave and Will Lutz, and just couldn't get it done. Impressive for Dave too. Dave put up 114. He wins this week with Travis Kelce only getting 5 points. Worst game of the year by far, which was super impressive. And I feel like Dave deserved it for like when I saw that the Cowboys defense, right, was Nick Barlow was texting me because he was going up against the Cowboys defense, and he was like saying another fucking fumble, like recover for a touchdown, like what the fuck, and was texting me this whole thing. And all I was thinking was like, dude, you know what? Good for Dave, because he had Kelce shit his pants. Like if Kelce got 19 and the Cowboys got 5, like that would have been normal. So I feel like the Cowboys defense made up for how unlucky Dave got in this matchup.
Other than Kelce, it's pretty solid outing for Dave's team. Like they're all
everyone's scoring between 10 and 15. He went safe with Kenny. That I'm gonna come out and say it. That was a statement pick up and start for Dave. Dave said my team's good enough that I don't even have to shoot for upside. I'm playing it safe. I'm getting my 10 to 15 points from Kenny, and my team's going to take care of the rest. And they did exactly that. I mean, it was fucking impressive. And honestly, the ball's on Dave to start absolute mid at QB and have it work out is just it's crazy, man. I mean, it's
the game breaker.
Yeah, this is a good win by Dave. Tough loss for Steve. And now we're going to get into the game that you guys were so excited for last week. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it didn't disappoint. To me personally, at least, Nick versus Austin, the piss bowl. We said whoever wins this is officially not the worst team in the league. No matter what happens the rest of the season, whoever finishes in last, it doesn't matter because this was the piss bowl. The rest of the season, whatever. This was the game that mattered, and Nick wins 143-72. Austin's team just fell apart, dude. Austin's team fell apart. But even better, we went over those pickups that Nick made on Thursday. The Browns defense got him 31 points. He picked them up on Thursday. A.J. Dillon, 19 points. Cam Akers had 18.5 points. What the fuck where did that come from? Curtis Samuel had 11.6. The Paul special. Curtis Samuel. Derrick Henry scored 4 points for Nick. And when we talked, we were like, dude, if Mahomes and Henry and Allen, they could all get 30 and maybe he could win. And Derrick Henry got him 4 and he fucking put up 143. I can't believe that this happened. It's mainly the Browns defense, dude. That was 31 points from the Browns defense.
Yep.
The Browns defenses, wow. Their last 3 games were -7, 0, and 4, and then they put up 31.
Joe Woods has turned it around. That just proves it.
Joe Woods just saved his job. But Austin had Cortland Sutton get injured. Alvin Kamara, man, wow. This has been bad. This is another one we forgot to talk about. In the trades, the Footbap trades. Austin traded Christian McCaffrey. No, he traded McCaffrey for Kamara and for Alvin Kamara and Amari Cooper. In that first game, Amari got Austin 20 points and Alvin Kamara got him 38. And in the first game that Dewey had Christian McCaffrey was when he threw for a touchdown, received for a touchdown, and ran for a touchdown and put up a 30-something. Yeah, like the Footbaps, like any trade that happens in Footbaps is going to have a massive effect on the fantasy football landscape. Like we are the deciding factor. But no, to be honest, Austin just had everyone fucking suck this week. That's really all that happened. There's nothing else.
If you actually did end up trading for Sutton and he got 0 points, that'd be so sad.
I was never going to trade for Sutton, and I was never going to trade for Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd did drop a wide open touchdown if you didn't see it.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was so bad. When I saw it happen, I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, at the same time, Austin, if he could have played it safe and kept Geno Smith in, he would have got 22 points. I don't know why he had Rachaad White on the bench because I thought he should have started Rachaad White over Cortland Sutton regardless. Yeah. And then James Cook, like he could have slid him in there for someone, like who knows who, like DPJ did good, so it wouldn't have made that big of a difference. But regardless, Austin couldn't do anything. The piss bowl ends. Nick beats Austin in the piss bowl. Austin is officially the worst team of the season, no matter what the standings say, and we're going to get to the standings right now. First place in the East, as you guys already know, he's been locked in for like 4 weeks in this first place spot. It's Paul, 8-5. Number 1 in the West, Dave is locked in as the number 1 seed in the West at this point, 2 games ahead of the next at 10-3. Second place in the East is me, 7-6. Third place in the East is Gorman, 6-7, and then Austin and Nick are both 2-11 at the bottom. Now the West is crazy. Kyle in second, 8-5. Dewey in third, 8-5. Mike in fourth, 8-5. Steve in fifth, 6-7. It's a big week, I think, for everyone, honestly. So to lay it all out, I think so. So Paul's already locked. I mean, we'll get into the matchups actually, regardless. Let's look at the points scored. Kyle's highest in points scored. I think he's going to end that way. I just can't imagine Dave would have to outscore him by like 30 something points.
Yeah.
Crazy streak that Kyle's on. So he only has a win streak of 1, but if you guys remember, Kyle started out 2-4, I think, right? He was 2-4.
Started off really bad.
Yeah, 2-4, and then he won 5 straight, lost 1, and then won this week. And so Kyle, after starting 2-4, is 6-1 since then, and played his way into the playoffs. Kind of crazy. And Kyle's team in the beginning was kind of a question mark to me, because you remember he was the highest scorer, but also the lowest scored on. And it was really weird because he would win like 100 and he like won 160 to 140 and then lost like 96 to 90, and then won like 140 to 100 something and then lost like 98 to 102. So it was like,
dude,
what?
He had Javonte Williams and Kyle Pitts. Like his second and third round picks both die, and he's still popping off like this. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to look at we will look at the draft recap at a certain point, just to go over picks that were made, and we're just gonna go over everyone's draft. But yeah, Kyle highest score, Nick lowest score. Yeah, that's points allowed. I have the lowest points scored on, thanks to playing Nick twice.
Mike passed Austin. Look at it.
I do.
Mike passed Austin on the total points score.
Oh no! Mike is officially not the second lowest scorer now after this week.
Good for him.
Points allowed. Me and Paul are at the bottom because we played Nick sad twice and he shit his pants both times. Austin's the highest scored on by like 100 points.
Damn,
that's crazy. Let's see. Dave is killing it in the West Division, 7-1 in division. Paul 6-2 in division. Gorman 6-2 in division. I'm 5-3. Austin sucking in division. Steve, rough year in division at 2-6. Mike is not doing too good in his division too, 3-5. No real home and away advantage except for Nick hasn't won a game at home. 0-7.
Undefeated still.
Wait, who's
away.
Undefeated?
Dave in away games. Look at it.
What? Okay, so Dave sucks at home, 3-3 at home, but he's 7-0 on the road. The Arizona Cardinals here. It looks like me and Mike both are pretty good on the road, and you, Paul. Yeah. Longest streaks. So now we have no crazy losing streaks, but Dave has a 5-win streak, which is good. Most moves I think is still Paul and then me. Yeah, let's check out the playoff bracket as it stands right now. But we got a lot of football left to play this week's. A lot's got to happen for a lot of people. So like I said, Austin, Dave and Paul have the 2 buys. And then we have a first round matchup of Mike versus Dewey. We need the Mike versus Dewey matchup.
Classic. Yep.
The Mike versus Dewey matchup. Now, one thing I will say, though, is actually if you're Mike, like I laid it out, I think Dewey's team is the best and Kyle's team, like they're both tied for the best to me. If you're Mike, you really want to win this fucking week because you want to get to that 9 wins to not play Dewey and like get to that 3rd seed, you know? So, So Mike, this is a big week for Mike. Mike's going to really have to shoot to win this week, in my opinion, because you don't want to like Mike needs to avoid getting matched up with Dewey or Kyle, basically.
Right.
Like
that's what I'm afraid of, Dewey or Kyle in the second round.
And you're probably going to have to play one of. Imagine if you get in a bracket where like you go 3 versus 6. So if Mike were to win, overtake Kyle, and then the 6th seed is going to be me, Gorman, or Steve. So yeah, you might get lucky as shit and just get like an easy second round matchup while Dave gets fucked and has to play one of the 2 best teams, Kyle and Dewey. I'm rooting for Mike this week. So I want Mike. I want him to win. I want him to get that easy matchup, but it's mainly
too. So you have to win.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying for the playoff thing, I want a Dewey versus Kyle first round matchup because I think those are the 2 best teams, and like how many times does that ever happen, right? So that's what I want to happen. But yeah, if you're Mike, in this situation, Paul's hoping to not play Dewey or Dewey or Kyle in the second round. Mike is trying to not play Dewey or Kyle in the first round. I'm just trying to make the playoff. Me, Gorman, and Steve are just trying to make the playoffs. Dewey probably would like to stick there and play Mike too. Yeah, this is gonna be crazy. But we got Dave and Paul on bye right now. First matchup is Mike versus Dewey, a rivalry. Winner of that would play Dave, as it stands right now. Paul at the bottom, and right now it's me versus Kyle. Winner of that would play Paul. Losers bracket as of right now is Steve versus Gorman, and then Nick versus Austin. That's crazy. How many times in our league history has the bottom two teams just stayed as two teams the entire season? It's been Nick and Austin the entire time. I can't believe that. And both of them are on pace to both break the record for least wins in a season, which was 3 games, and that was when the season was 1 game shorter. And they're going to break that record with an extra game that's crazy. They're both going to break that record. And Nick getting a second win of the year on an explosive 144-point performance that's just amazing. This is why we play, right, Paul?
Yeah,
this is why we
love
play.
To see that shit.
So that's the playoff bracket right now. We'll look at the final standings projections, which at this point I think ESPN just does it in order of where everyone is right now. And yeah, that's exactly what they're doing, which is kind of lame. I wish they do it based on like whatever. Number 1, Dave. Number 2, Kyle. Is that even possible? No, that can't be possible because you're in the East.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe they like after the playoffs. I think he's
maybe they're doing like after the playoffs. Yeah, because it's impossible for Kyle to be the 2 seed because it has to be Paul because the number 1 seed in each division gets the 1 and the 2 seed. So they have Kyle at 2, Paul at 3, Dewey at 4, Mike at 5, me at 6, Gorman at 7, Steve at 8, Austin at 9, Nick at 10. Now let's go over the recent activity here. FanDuel just started, Paul. Let's fucking go.
Nice.
So let's see what has transpired. So first of all, I added Traylon Burks to hopefully play this week, and then he got a concussion, so he's probably out, which really sucked. I added DeAndre Carter because he was doing well, and I was like, maybe he'll do something, and then for some reason he just wasn't thrown to, and I was like, well, never mind. Now that leads us to, well, here's the Paul Steelers edition that he dropped them today too. Okay, so Paul added the Steelers, and then he dropped the Steelers today. He added the Titans. I added Corey Davis. Just wait, does it say out? Oh, questionable. I added Corey Davis just because he got a shit ton of targets. Don't feel too great about that, but we'll see. Kyle added the Raiders defense against the Rams and potentially Baker Mayfield, which would be fucking hilarious. Rams defense is the 30th ranked defense.
Yeah, I saw that when he added him. I was like, they had to play someone.
It doesn't even look like that bad too, like 7, 5, 6, but then 0, -1, -1. Yeah, I could see it. But they're playing the Rams, so it's like the Rams are really fucking bad. Mike added Mike Gesicki, who has gotten one target each of the last 2 games.
Oh my god, what is he doing? Yeah, the tight end collection, dude. He's still not having enough of it.
There's got to be better tight ends for him to pick up. Why would he pick up a tight end that's literally not scoring any points? But oh well. So Mike added Mike Gesicki, I guess, and then he added the Patriots defense, and then me and Paul did a trade, more of an insurance trade. I might need a flex play to play, so I just traded Pittman because he's on a bye to Paul, who traded me Juju. I think both those players suck, to be honest. But I figured I was like, it's basically, it comes down to why I really only did it because Pittman was on bye. But it's, would you like the guy on the worst offense in NFL history that gets like 8 targets a game and goes for like 4 catches for 50 yards, or do you want the guy, you know, at least with Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball? And that's basically it. So it didn't matter to me going forward. I don't plan on Juju like being a part of my team if I were to make the playoffs. But I figured I might use him this week if I have to.
With the current, how it's been going in the past, could score 25 to 30 points. Just, how it's been going.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
you can score
now that
0.
I got Juju, I might have to slide him in my lineup, even if I don't think he'll do that great, because we
They
do
play Denver.
we do own the fantasy world. Everything we do directly impacts it. Um, so yeah, that was the trade. Now the trade deadline's closed, so that was the last trade of the year. Was mid for mid, Michael Pittman for Juju Smith-Schuster. That's fucking hilarious. Um, let's get to the games this week. So first off, the first game we got up here is me versus Dewey. Looks like I beat him last time 120 to 86. This was actually a fucked week the last time me and Dewey played, because I had Damian Harris get hurt in the first quarter and I had someone else get hurt in the second half, and Dewey had like 2 guys get hurt too. So the last time we played, we just had guys getting fucking hurt. I know the projection looks close. Dewey's projected to win 123 to 115. It doesn't look too bad, but if we're being honest, I can't imagine that I'm going to win this game at all, because he's got Burrow versus Cleveland should kill him. Swift versus Minnesota should kill him. McCaffrey versus Tampa Bay, I don't really care about the matchup. It's Christian McCaffrey. A.J. Brown's a beast. Amon-Ra versus Minnesota should get 30 points. T. Higgins versus Cleveland should get 30 points. Kenneth Walker, I'm just fucked here, if I'm being honest. I'm totally fucked. But we're gonna try our best to win this one, Paul. Does anything jump off the page at you?
You never know what could happen. Devontae Adams now number 1 wide receiver overall.
Can I admit something?
going.
Can I admit something to you real quick, Paul?
Yeah.
Going into that game, I actually did have a feeling that I was gonna win. Like I think it was because I looked in the last time Devontae scored like 28 points versus the Chargers, and I was like, if I get that from Devontae Adams, I could win. But I also felt like I had good matchups. Like it was like Herbert versus Oakland and Dalvin versus someone like I can't even remember. Oh, the Jets, who can be ran on and not passed on, and the Commanders were. I don't know. I had good matchups, and I felt like you didn't have great matchups.
You feel too confident. I thought it was like 50-50 in my mind.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it was 50-50 to me. But this one, I legitimately do think that this is like, I don't think I really have a chance to win. I'd have to get insanely lucky to beat Dewey this week. Like you said, anything can happen, but I have like bad matchups and guys out and stuff. And right now I'm projected 115, and that's with Mike Williams, who probably isn't going to play, being projected 11.4. So it's really going to end up being me projected to lose 123 to like 112. So we'll see what happens. The one thing I will say is I don't think there are any night games involved in this, for Dewey at least. Unfortunately, I will have Herbert on Sunday night, which means he'll suck. So for anyone out there with Justin Herbert, don't start him. But yeah, if I win this game, I'm in the playoffs, and if not, then there are other things that need to happen, basically. But that's me versus Dewey. Then we got Nick versus Kyle. I'm just gonna gloss over this. Nick got his win last week. Nick won the season.
Out. He's checked out. It's over.
Kyle actually almost lost to Nick last time. It looks like he only won 118 to 105. Damn, Kyle got to play Nick twice this year. That was a lucky draw from Kyle from the West Division. Yeah. Like, it sucks because when I look at it and it's like, damn, I got matched up with Dewey twice this year from West, and you kind of got lucky matched up with Steve. Steve, I guess, was technically the worst West team this year, right? In most years, that would probably be like, even though I don't think Steve's team is bad at all. I think that Mike is probably the worst West team, but Steve had a worse record. So never mind. Whoever got to play Mike twice this year really got a good draw, which I think actually is Gorman. Regardless, Kyle versus Nick. Congrats on the season, Nick. Congrats on the win, the Piss Bowl champion. And Kyle, Nick could set his lineup. Nick 11.2 from Judy, 9.3 from Carter. He did get cleared. This actually is possible because Kyle's got a lot of buys. He's starting, fucking Gabe Davis again and shit. We'll see. It's possible. I'm actually coming around to this game. I think Nick's going to be looking for revenge. He wants to tie the lowest wins record at 3. He doesn't want to get lower than that. So that actually might end up being a good game. Dave versus Austin. Austin hasn't set his lineup yet, but so he'll put probably Rashad White in and then Boyd or something. I don't fucking know. Last time they played, Austin barely lost by 4 to Dave. Austin will be looking out for revenge. This is 2 games where I know that these are 2-11 teams, but I actually think that the 2-11 teams, they aren't completely out of it because of bye weeks and stuff. So Dave versus Austin part 2. Pretty big game here. Yeah, wait, let's see. I don't think it's possible for you to lose that 1 seed. I don't think it's possible for you to lose the bye week. I don't think so, because I think I probably have like 100 less points than you, right? No, I have like 70, right?
I think so. So as long as
So
I don't
you
shit the
should
bed.
technically. Are you nervous at all to lose
No.
that bye? Okay,
No.
you're looking for revenge. You're looking for revenge. Steve beat you last time.
Yeah.
So you're out for revenge. Steve hasn't set his lineup yet. He'll be probably projected like, let's see, 20. That'll be 70 something. Like 80 something. He'll be projected around like 100 something. Like this will be a close projection. This looks worse than it actually is. You know what I
Do it
mean?
justice.
Yeah, it doesn't do it justice. This should be a close game, Paul versus Steve. And Steve in a must-win game. So, and then we got another good game here too.
Classic.
See, he has Mike Gesicki in his lineup too. I'm actually gonna look right now and see if
Fucking what?
I'm gonna look and
Why?
see if they're like any better. Like I don't know, dude.
Well, Mike has no other tight ends. He
I
had
think I'd
3.
just. What'd you say?
Mike he used to have 3 tight ends like all year, and now he just has Gesicki.
Yeah, if I were Mike, I might pick a tight end that like what does like the outlook say on for Gesicki? His lone target was almost good for a first down. Nice. Gesicki
Damn.
should stay in free agency ahead of a matchup with a solid crew of safeties. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. I think
Like
Mike
throwing
might
on
want.
purpose.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Gesicki, but yeah, Mike's got Trevor Lawrence injured, should probably replace him. Brady against the 49ers is I don't like that at all.
Josh Jacobs is number 1 running back, dude. That hurts so bad to see.
Yeah, that does
What
hurt.
the fuck?
Thielen on the bench. I don't know if Mike set his lineup yet. Thielen on the bench. I don't know if he has anyone to replace in here. I don't think that Mike's lineup's set. It wouldn't surprise me if we see a different tight end in. He doesn't have a kicker in. He's probably going to have a different quarterback because Trevor's hurt. So I don't
Got
think
Brady,
we.
but I would not play him
Yeah,
against
that's
San
what I'm
Francisco.
saying. Yeah, I don't think that this is the actual matchup we're going to see. I think it's going to be a good matchup, to be honest. You know what I mean? I think that Mike versus Gorman is going to be close, and yeah, that's all the matchups. What do you think the game of the week is?
Potentially, I'd say Gorman versus Mike, or you versus who the fuck is it?
Do
Dewey.
we?
Just because what playoffs are on the line? Because it's between you and Gorman, pretty much. I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
You and Gorman have to lose, and then Steve has to win, which I see
we
that's a
can.
long shot. So
Yeah, it's tough. I think I'm between Mike's and my game. I just don't know what you're gonna do. I don't think that I really have a chance, which makes me want to lean toward Mike. What do you
yeah.
think?
I don't know. Let's make it Gorman
Okay, Gorman
and
versus
Mike.
Mike, game of the week. Yeah, because this is huge for Mike too. Like I said, he wants to
To
avoid
drop
playing.
down.
He
Yep.
wants to avoid playing Dewey or Kyle. So I don't know if this. I don't know. Yeah, this is a publicity stunt by Mike playing. Putting Mike Gesicki in there, or if he's got some secret insider information. But this is a big week for Mike because he probably wants a win here to get matched up with that 6 seed and not Dewey or Kyle. So Mike, we'll see what Mike ends up doing this week. Those are the matchups for this week. I think that's everything, right? We got all of it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so
Covered it
now
all.
we're gonna look at our records. I gained a game on Paul this past week. Paul picked the Eagles, or picked the Titans against the Eagles, and the Patriots against the Bills.
Pats.
Yeah,
Let's
both lost,
go.
but he did have the Raiders over the Chargers, which, like, remember, I definitely thought that could go 50-50 either way. But my main reasoning for picking the Chargers was just for us to
Like
have
them.
another game different.
Yeah.
Because
You're
I
talking
was
about
gonna,
LT and all that.
no matter who you picked in that game, I was gonna pick the opposite of it. And I kind of had a better feeling about the Raiders, but at the same time, I still thought 50-50. But yeah, so I have 110 wins. Paul has 112. We both got a tie in there from our Manders. And let's get to this week's games, Paul. How does that sound?
Yep.
All
Good
right.
deal.
First up, Raiders, Rams. I am assuming they were both picking the Raiders. No. No.
It's a Baker revenge story, dude. But
Okay,
I'm
I
going
have you
Raiders.
pencil.
I'm
I
going
have you.
Raiders.
I wrote
I'm going
Rams. I
Raiders.
wrote Rams. No, everyone, look.
No.
I wrote Rams for Paul. I wrote Rams for Paul. Paul is locked into the
Nope.
Rams. All
Nope.
right, all right. So we
Raiders
both
are
got Raiders
hot.
in this one. Jets, Bills. Who are you taking?
Bills getting revenge. That line is crazy. Wouldn't pick that.
Nine
But
and a
I think
half
the
would
Bills will
not
win.
pick that. Yeah, 9.5 would not pick that line at all. But I am going to pick the Bills to win this. But I think they'll only win by like 3, maybe like 5. 9.5. That's a touchdown and a field goal. Like that's 2 possessions. That's kind of crazy. Browns, Bengals in Cincy. Who you taking?
Browns are back, baby. Give me the Browns.
Oh shit! The downtown Cleveland Browns. I'm picking the Browns. I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to go Cincy, but first of all, fuck Cincy, and second of all, like I'm
The
afraid
win
that.
streak.
Yeah, but I'm afraid. Yeah, I'm afraid that like I don't know why the Browns beat the Bengals, so I don't have a good feeling about it. This is the same reason why we picked the Packers versus the Bears. Remember, it wasn't
Mhm.
like oh the Packers are better than the Bears because I actually don't even think they are. It was just like they just win. So we'll
Right.
see. Maybe the streak will end, but I'm gonna pick the Browns. What's the rest of our schedule looking like? Actually, I'm trying to think of how many more times we're gonna be picking the Browns. Baltimore probably not, unless it's Huntley maybe.
Yeah.
Saints, I'd pick the Commanders. I probably would pick Pittsburgh too because they're winning games. So yeah, we're going with the Browns. Eagles, Giants. Who you taking? That's
Eagles. Yep.
ooh.
I'm not picking New York, dude.
I might go Eagles. Fuck you. Texans, Cowboys. I think
Ah,
I'm going Texans in this one. I'm not even
the
kidding.
16.5 favorite.
No, I'm
I'm
going.
gonna
I'm
go with
actually
the
going
Texans.
Texans.
Me too.
I'm kidding. I'm going Cowboys.
I was kidding as well.
What? No, because I have you penciled in for Texans. Everyone, look at the screen right now. I have Paul penciled in
I
for
can't.
Texans.
I would love to, but I can't.
16.5. That's a crazy line. It's crazy because remember the last time it was Eagles were like 14 and I took it and then they only won by 13. It just shows you how hard of a line that is to hit. So I'm gonna switch you to Cowboys before I forget. But I'm not even touching that line at all. Whoa! Vikings,
Yeah.
Lions in Detroit.
Lions favorited.
Lions
Even
favorited
if I
by
didn't see that
2.5
line,
points.
I'd still pick the Lions, even if I didn't see that.
Oh, so
I
you're
love it.
taking the Lions to win by at least 3.
Yeah.
Well, you're taking the Lions to
No.
win in general then.
In general, yeah. I meant like if the line was favoring the Vikings, I'd still pick the Lions. You know.
I think if the line was
Trust me.
favoring the Vikings, I would take the Lions. But now that it's 2.5, it makes me get afraid that the Lions are only going to win by like 1 or 2. But I'm taking the Lions because I think they're going to win. But I just wish that it was the Vikings favorited because I think regardless, if the Lions lost, I don't think they'd lose by that much. But I do think that I think the Lions are hot. I think the Vikings' luck has to run out at a certain point. It's in Detroit, so I'm taking the Lions. You said you're taking the Lions, right?
Yeah.
Just making sure I have that written down right. All right, Jaguars, Titans in Nashville. Who you taking?
Oh, I remember I texted you saying I'm gonna go with the Titans this week regardless, but after careful consideration, I hate the Titans again, so I'm going Jags. Fuck 'em.
Okay, I'm gonna go Titans, but this is comes down to this is the reason why I think the Titans were such a bad pick last week, Paul, is that the Titans pull off upsets against teams when you're least expecting it, you know?
Mhm.
So that was like an expected, like, hey, everyone was like, hey, the Titans might be able to pull this one off. That's how I knew it wasn't going to happen. It was bound to fail. But I'm picking them against the Jaguars. I think that this is a 50-50 one. I actually think that I would take Jaguars +4 because I think that they can win, and I think that they can also not lose by more than 4. But I am going to take the Titans just because it's in Nashville, pretty much. Ravens, Steelers in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh favored by 2.5. What are you taking here?
That's a tough one. With Huntley in, uh, I'll go with the Ravens.
Nice. I'm going to go with the Steelers. Just because it's in Pittsburgh, they've been playing pretty good football. I feel like the Ravens will be ready for it and they'll win, and we're probably overreacting. But I don't know. I think that the Steelers are just playing pretty good right now, so I'm going to take the Steelers. Back-to-back different picks. Chiefs, Broncos. Who you taking here?
Chiefs, dude. Broncos are so bad. I hate watching them. I haven't watched a game for the Broncos in like 6 weeks. So it
Oh,
just pisses me
I
off.
have Paul penciled in for the Broncos. Yeah, no, I haven't watched the Broncos also, and it might be that Thursday night, or if it was Thursday night or Monday night, whatever game it was, Broncos Colts, I think was the last Broncos game I watched. And I was like, I can't do it anymore, dude. They're just
So bad.
bad. So we're both taking the Chiefs. Bucks, 49ers. Who are you taking? This line is a little closer than I
Um,
thought, but I guess the Niners did just get killed.
no, they won. Good
Or yeah,
spot.
you're right. You're right. Which
But
I was thinking about the Dolphins. Go
I
ahead.
want to pick the Bucks really bad,
I'm
but
going
it's
to
a
take the
home game.
49ers.
I'm going with the Bucks. Fuck
Damn, we got a ton of different games this week.
'em.
Yeah, I just kind of think the Bucks suck still, honestly. So
Tom
I'm
Brady
going.
apparently has a new girlfriend, so
Yeah, he
it's
does have
going well
a
for him.
hot new girlfriend. So yeah, that's a good call by you. But I'm gonna go 49ers. It's a home game. I think the Bucks suck. I think the Niners are at least decent. I know they have that Brock Purdy
Yeah,
starting, but I just feel like this is another reason why I'm saying I think that I'm going to get killed by Dewey is because I think Christian McCaffrey is going to carry the ball like 25 times and also catch like 12 passes out of the backfield.
yeah.
So I'm taking the Niners though. Panthers Seahawks. Now this seems like a Paul upset of the week game.
The Panthers have not won a game on the road. Otherwise, I would pick them.
Ah.
I'm as much as it pains me, I gotta go with the Seahawks.
Oh, okay. I'm taking the Seahawks too, but you can think about it. You
The long trip out to Seattle, dude.
imagine
That's
how
across
smart
the
you're gonna
country.
look if the Seahawks lose
It's such a
this.
far journey. If it was
All
a
right, I'm
home game, I'd
counting down from
choose it.
3, and for you to switch your vote. Three,
Nope. Keep it.
2,
Mm-mm.
1.
Nope.
All right, all right. We're both penciled in for the Seahawks, Dolphins, Chargers. Who are you taking in Cali?
Back-to-back trips to California for the Dolphins. Will they be tired? Oh, it's a Sunday night. I'll go with the Dolphins.
I'm going with the Dolphins either way. I don't really care. Like, I just don't trust the Chargers at all. They just lost to the Raiders.
Yeah,
Respect to the Raiders because they're playing pretty good right now. They're 5-7, but that was pretty bad though. The Chargers are just beat up. Their offensive. Did you watch any of the Chargers game? Any of
not
the?
really, no.
It was Justin Herbert essentially got sacked or had someone in his face on every single dropback. That offensive line is in complete fucking shambles. Um, and I think the Dolphins defense isn't good, but I don't think the Raiders defense is either. And they were all up in Herbert's face. So and we know the Chargers defense sucks. I mean, it says
Right.
the Miami is favored by 3 away. I think the Dolphins are just the better team. So we're both going Dolphins. And then Paul's game of the week, Patriots Cardinals. Paul's game of the week. Who are you taking?
My two favorite teams. I'm going with
Yep.
the Pats.
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots too. Which is crazy. It's like, oh, it's a home game for the Cardinals. Yep. definitely. I got to go with the Cardinals there. I was about to say they're off a bye. Maybe I can convince myself, but no, definitely can't do that.
No chance.
Those are the picks then for this week. I'm going to throw them up on the screen right now. The games that me and Paul have different are it's Jaguars. Paul has the Jaguars. I have the Titans. Paul has the Ravens. I have the Steelers. Paul has the Bucks. I have the Niners. And Paul has the Panthers, and I have the Seahawks.
Whoa. Hey, you got Seahawks in there. Keeping
All right,
tabs.
that's this week's episode, fellas. We're about to hit the hour mark. Might even cut this off exactly at an hour. We got 30 seconds until an hour.
Oh,
Paul,
yeah,
give us a message. Give us a little message.
Draft recap next week. Be on the lookout.
Draft
Big
recap.
episode.
Draft recap. Playoff preview. Season overview. I'd say we can go through weeks, go through everything that happened in the season that led to the point.
Separate episode, yeah.
Yeah, this is we might have 2 separate episodes. Does that sound good, Paul?
Yeah, crazy time.
All right, Footbap Nation.
Let's ride.
Peace.